I'd like to welcome you to a Mighty Media production for Mighty Men of the Western Cape. You've got a fantastic story to tell us. Give us an idea of where you've come from, your testimony, and where you are today, my friend. Thanks.
Well, Pipey, like I said, my road with God comes, and Christ comes very long. A lot of personal experiences. I didn't come to know Him through going to a church. It was a personal experience in my time in the armed forces. But I think the most powerful of my story has been, I would say, the last 6 years, where as an army chaplain I should have focused more on my ministry, and I became more concerned about earning my jump wings. I became very arrogant in my lifestyle, in my faith, my finances and all that, and God pretty much ripped all that out from underneath me, closed the door of the chaplain services, and it was a very frustrating 5 6 years that I went through. And then I had a personal incident that happened in life, which made me start asking questions. And I was going through this book, and I was reading this book, and suddenly realized that the reason that I was going through that was that God needed me to come back to earth, to put Him before everything else in my life. And when I suddenly accepted and repented from that, my life started coming together again, and it's been an incredible lesson and testimony from that. And I've suddenly realized that, it doesn't matter how hard things are going, it looks like God's not with you. He's actually there with you, trying to teach you a lesson, and it's a grace. A lot of times the hardships we are going through, what I learned through this period, was a period of grace that I needed to come back to earth, come back to Him. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. Now, tell me, what message do you bring as a military chaplain? I know you're retired now, but what message do you bring to men in general, from your perspective? I mean, you're a man in uniform, it conjures up warrior spirit, that type of thing, and you've been through your personal battles, but now you're right on the front line of Christendom, so give us an idea of that message that you're bringing to the men.
The big thing is never give up, no matter how hard life is for you at the time, and you think that God's no longer with you. Just don't give up. He's there, He's standing there. Just be quiet and listen, because to me, what I'm starting to find is the amazing grace of God. And amazing grace is a lot of times through those hard periods that we go through. And just go back to the guy that authored the song Amazing Grace. He still authored that while he was on the slave ship.
That's right, John Newton.
Newton. He was still on the slave ships when he wrote that.
Yeah.
And it took another 5 years or something ridiculous like it before he actually broke totally away from that. And this is what I found, is that it's an amazing grace that we're going through. And no matter how hard your life is at that specific time, just remember it's an amazing grace. And never, ever, ever, guys, never, ever give up. Just, you are so close.
Yeah.
Don't ever, just push through. And as soldiers, we've been through, as a chaplain, I served in the airborne parachute regiment, been on exercises with them and stuff. And a lot of times you get to those points you really want to give up, but just push through, and don't stop. Don't ever stop, because it is a war. And front line's not easy, but just push through and you'll get to your goals.
I never was on the front line, Peter, when I was in the British Army, but I know exactly what you mean about being disciplined and focused. And you have got to, sometimes in life, be brought back down to your knees to be built back up again. And that's exactly what they do in the army. They knock you down and build you up and see if you've got that resilience to keep going. It's exactly the same being a man for God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the hardships that we go through are lessons that we need to be to learn for ourselves. Not necessarily just to go out into the world and spread the gospel, but just go into your own household and be a leader, and a good leader, gospel leader, just to your own family. A lot of times we learn, and it's one thing I've been saying to my wife again lately, is this is not life is not a destination. It's a journey, and it's a journey of lessons, and it's a journey of growth and maturity, and it doesn't stop. The big thing is that don't give up. Don't ever give up, because every experience we go through is an amazing grace to something even better.
That's great. Mighty Men is all about the families. We start with the men first, any addictions and afflictions, getting the men back in line, becoming the prophet, priest and the king, as Uncle Angus tells us, in the household. And if we get that straight with the men, then everything else falls in line. You know what, Peter, I want to thank you for coming today, because your words are of great encouragement to many. And there's a lot of men out there that are actually soldiers, or Navy service personnel, or Air Force personnel, and even the armed forces and the emergency services combined. They're all doing very stressful jobs, and a lot of them are at their wits' end. But there really is only one army to march in now, isn't there?
That's correct.
And that is the army of Jesus Christ.
That's correct. That is so correct.
Yeah.
You know, put your job, especially you guys that are in the armed forces systems, and even our paramedics and police, bearing in mind I serve police as well. There's a far higher calling, a far higher commander-in-chief that we follow.
Yeah.
His name's Jesus Christ. And if we think our battles are tough, and feel like giving up, don't ever give up. I mean, I've been suicidal, I've been to those places where most men have gone. I've had men turn around and say to me, yeah, but you never understand, you've never been in this situation.
Yeah.
I really wish that they could sit down with me and I can actually put them in my shoes for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
To let them see and understand what I've gone through and what has brought me through to the end. And again, it boils down to an amazing grace.
Well, your message will touch a lot of guys. I know that for a fact. We're very proud to have you marching with us in Mighty Men and as our liaison officer with the armed forces. So I want to thank you. Now, I know we're sitting down and we normally would stand up, but I want to salute you. I'm sure the viewers won't mind if I just salute you while we're sat down. And I want to salute you, sir. And I say thank you very much indeed for everything that you're doing for us. And God bless you.
You too. Thank you,
brother.
Pipey. Thank you very much.
Thanks.